Hello everyone and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. In 1979, Jean Guiton, a personal friend of Pope Paul VI, was repeating to a journalist details of a conversation he had been having with the Pope shortly before Pope Paul VI's death. Guiton said, quote, "Paul VI was right. We can see that today. We are experiencing an unprecedented crisis. The Church, indeed the history of the world, has never seen the like of it. When Christ was walking in the streets of Galilee, the world was pagan, but so many pagans of the West and East at least had a sense of mystery. We could say that for the first time in its very long history, humanity as a whole is atheological. It no longer has a clear, or even confused, for that matter, sense of what we call the mystery of God. This crisis besetting our sense of the mystery afflicting humanity as a whole has also infiltrated the Catholic Church." That again was in 1979. In a 1995 interview republished in Christian Order magazine, Cardinal Adrianus Simonis, then primate of the Netherlands, echoed those same sentiments. Quote, "I too am concerned for the orthodoxy of the faith of our people, the orthodox faith in God made known through the revelation of Jesus Christ, a faith that recognizes the glory of Jesus Christ, His divinity, the mystery of His church, the Holy Spirit as a person, the third person of the Blessed Trinity. Of course, these are the essentials, the foundations of our faith." In the early centuries of the Church, after emerging from a persecution by the Roman Empire, it was understandable at one level that there would be much that would need debating and clarifying and settling. This had been essentially impossible to do collectively until Constantine liberated the Church and her attentions could turn to specific theological matters. Notice that the Council of Nicaea, held in 325 AD, called to refute the heresy of Arianism, was held almost immediately after the Edict of Milan was issued in 313 AD, just 12 years before. It is further proof of the divine protection that the Church, through hundreds of years of persecutions and being underground, that she enjoys this, that she is still able to have been preserved in the Catholic faith on a universal scale, despite being unable to have met collectively. But today, much of what had been settled almost 2 millennia ago is now up for grabs again, rejected or disregarded by many of the Church's own pastors. The very self-understanding of the Church, the mystery of her identity, is no longer understood, appreciated, or preached, even by many of her leaders, especially the leaders. At the very moment the world needed the Church the most, the moment when centuries-long preparations by diabolical forces to defeat Christianity all converged, Church leaders abdicated their duties, and a new dark age has befallen the world. And we are only at the earliest stages of this dark age. This moment has been hundreds of years in the making and is so cleverly disguised and presented that almost no one recognizes its gravity. There is no salvation outside the Catholic Church, and there is no hope for defeating evil other than the Catholic Church, for that is what she was constituted for by the Son of God in the first and last place. Yet it's revealing that many leaders in the Church today, in defiance of nearly 2,000 years of self-understanding, would object to that characterization of the Church. Many of them, in fact, would reject that notion out of hand, and do, in fact, completely reject that teaching. It is this corruption that stands in great need of being resisted today in the Church. Evil has ascended to heights never before imagined except by those saints to whom special insight was granted by heaven in the form of terrifying and disturbing visions and locutions. To be certain, all that has changed is the scale of the challenge facing the Church. The circumstances are new and still not understood by the lion's share of Catholics, most of whom are practical heretics or apostates. But the struggle is the same, even if its scope is terrifying as it comes more into focus. The struggle is for holiness, personal and individual. That struggle to resist can only be won by clinging to the Catholic Church in all her purity. All else will be wiped away in a torrent of evil such as the world has never witnessed. The resistance needed against the devil within the church, and it is indeed needed, must begin with a resistance to the devil within ourselves. Only personal sanctity can defeat evil, and only the Catholic Church is holy, as she states publicly in her creed. Therefore, resist the devil, as St. Peter and St. James instruct us in their inspired writings. Resist him daily within your soul and while being reinforced by and sustained in sanctifying grace. Resist him daily within the church. This is our duty as faithful Catholics. You were confirmed ultimately to resist. As Pope Leo XIII so wonderfully put it, Catholics are born for combat. Resist. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.